And Villanova kind of escapes at home to some degree. Providence had them a little bit. It was ugly early. Then the Friars started making some shots. They're still without their star Bryce Hopkins, and it does not look like he's going to come back this season. But Villanova needed this one. They had won 8 of 9, T.O., before losing at St. John's and at Xavier. And they dug themselves a hole early in the season, and we're all thinking Kyle Neptune is dead man walking at that point. There's no way he's going to survive past this year, and he's done a really nice job. Eric Dixon's been steady and dominant throughout. That has not been the issue. He has carried him. Wooga Poplar, to me, has been the difference. Over the last probably 3 weeks or so, he's looked like the Wooga Poplar that we thought he was going to be last year at Miami. And Jordan Longino's been very good as well. And those guys all delivered tonight in a huge win to me for Villanova, because I think there's going to be 4 teams that get in from the Big East. And I think if you're Villanova, you're probably fighting Creighton for that 4th spot to be able to get in. And you may get in the first 4, but if you are Kyle Neptune, it's just get in, baby. However it is, just get in.
Just win, baby. Just keep winning. To hell with the metrics, to hell with trying to beat people by 15, 20 points. Just win. And I thought tonight was a good example of that. Hey, look, Eric Dixon becoming a National Player of the Year level player, and I say that they're 12-7, possible. He's been so good this season, averaging what? He's a leading scorer in college basketball. The dude's shooting 46.5% from 3. He's already hit 63s. And that wasn't a part of his game 5 years ago when he got into college. Hell, he hardly played. So, seeing his development, they have a premium go-to guy. This is starkly different than what Jay Wright did. It was kind of like everybody, maybe a point guard was kind of your tone setter. Then you had a bunch of guys that could get you 12 to 22 on a given night. Now it's Eric Dixon's team. You give him the ball. If he doesn't score right away, somebody else is going to hit some shots. Jameer Brickus, the dude's shooting damn near 50% from 3. This is a really good shooting Villanova team, and the good part about that is it's going to give them a chance to win on every single night, no matter who they play. Don't be surprised if Villanova beats one of these teams in the top 3 of the league on one of these crazy hot shooting nights, because they have that capability.
Yeah, they have the best player on the floor, Tyler. And to me, if you have that, it gives you a chance against any of these teams, because let's face it, the top of the Big East is not nearly what it's been, right? I mean, UConn, and I know they're without Liam McNeely right now, but they're not dominant by any means. And Marquette might be the cream of the crop in the league, and they're very good, don't get me wrong. But again, if you're Villanova and you get help for Dixon, he couldn't do it alone. And that's why, you really never had him in the mix for any of those National Player of the Years, because you got to win. You got to win at a high level in addition to put up those numbers. Now he's doing both. And again, I like to see it, because Kyle Neptune faced a unenviable task, right? I mean, following Jay Wright is impossible, basically impossible. And he's had some tough hurdles. Obviously, last year they did not spend their NIL well. It was a complete disaster. 2 years ago, they were banged up and injured in year 1. And this year, there weren't a lot of expectations. And now they've played their way where they're at least in the mix, Tyler. Do you give them, how good of a chance do you think they have to be an NCAA tournament team? And what do they need to do to get there?
No, I absolutely believe in them. And I think the reason that I'm buying Villanova is because of Dixon. And, he is the best player on the court. T.O.'s right. He's a National Player of the Year candidate. And you brought it up, Wooga Poplar, his development and the way that he is coming on right now, he is bringing more help and providing Dixon with a little bit of relief. Defenses are going to start having to pay attention to him. And when that happens, Dixon could bust open even more. And this is a legit National Player of the Year candidate. If he even starts producing more than he is right now, he could give Cooper Flagg a run. He could give Janiah Broome a run for National Player of the Year. I like that. They're starting to win. And they're shooting well. I could see them upsetting one of the Big East, even You know, you consider it a little down year. I believe in UConn a little bit more than you, but they can beat any team in the Big East for sure.
Here's my only thing that scares me. I think they have to get to 20 wins because of, losing to Columbia, losing to St. Joe's, losing to Virginia, which is turning out to be a horrendous loss. That's kind of where I'm at. You lose on the road in the Big East in conference play, like it's forgivable, sure. But for them to get to 20 wins, they have to go 13-7 in league. Is that possible? Yeah, it's possible. Is it probable? I think it's going to be tough. So that's kind of my only apprehension there. If Eric Dixon's the best player on the floor every single night, possible. They are going to have to rattle a couple off. It's going to have to be against Marquette. It's going to have to be against UConn. And, St. John's, it would be nice too. So you win 2 of those games out of however many you have left against the teams I just mentioned. I think, you know what? You're putting yourself in a real position to make the NCAA tournament. Outside of that, it's going to be really hard just because of the way the schedule's set up, and they dug themselves in such a big hole.
I also think that Kyle Neptune is going to need to get to the NCAA tournament to be the head coach of Villanova next year. I do. I mean, I don't know how you can go 0 for 3 in 3 years and not get to the NCAA tournament in 3 years at Villanova when you've had NIL. It's not like you haven't had money. You've had money. Yeah. I understand you're following Jay Wright, but we're not saying you got to get to another Final Four. We're just saying you got to get to the NCAA tournament. That should not be hard at a place like Villanova to do 3 years in 3 years. So to me, I think it's
with
totally
the money
justified.
they're spending on these rosters. With the money they're spending on these rosters,
yes, it's a big difference. It's a big.
How long do those people keep giving money? That's another big part of it. Yeah,
that's the key. If you don't believe in somebody as a head coach and they haven't produced, then they're not going to keep getting money from the boosters. The boosters are going to say well, I've given for 3 years. Why am I going to keep giving to this guy? Right? I need somebody new to feel good about, and that's frankly what it comes down to, right? Is sometimes a change is needed for those boosters, and it doesn't even matter who it is. Sometimes it's just change, and they want to believe in whoever that new guy is, right? Ohio State, great example. Jake Diebler was a part of Chris Holtman's staff. He was a part of it. They got fired. But again, they want to believe in Jake Diebler, and he's got connections to the collective people. So he was able to raise, to get to $3 million or so and build a pretty good roster. And if Jake Diebler doesn't get it done, he's going to have more than a year, obviously. But there's less time now, less tolerance.
100%.
You're not getting 4 years anymore, especially if you have money. You're not getting 4 years anymore.